Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, St. Louis. Welcome to the Kirk Schilling Extravaganza, at least until we find something better. We are broadcasting live here on Ferguson, USA Hot Talk Radio, on the web, as well as on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and all kinds of things like that. As always, with me here, the man in charge, Scotty Papa Bear Owen. That's his hand. We are getting ready to get started here today. We've got a couple of awesome things to talk about. Let's see, sports. It's 8 years ago we won the Central Division title. Yeah, that's all I got right there. There's no sports going on. The weather is beautiful. Spring is springing. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you saw some of my resident toads that are working on repopulating the toad world right now, which is pretty exciting. Well, not exciting in that way, but it's a spring thing. Other than that, we've got Corona is going on. We've got the stay-at-home orders. We've got businesses closing. We've got restaurants that are closed to the public. No gatherings of 10 or more people. We got all kinds of fun stuff going on here. But we don't want to dwell too much on that. I am sitting here doing this show in an effort to help businesses to promote themselves. That's one of the main reasons I did this. And so we have not one but two amazing guests on here today. Leading off, we've got John Hongs, and then followed up in the closer role, cleanup role, or whatever you want to call it, we got Mr. Larry Tesler. So, joining me right now via the phone line, because him and I have to be separated right now, Mr. John Hongs. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Kirk Schilling. Good. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful. It's good to hear from you, my friend. Unfortunately, we're not sitting side by side with a drink or two, but John is the principal of Westminster Legal Group, based here in St. Louis. And if you ever need a lawyer, a professional to help you with anything that is not involving criminal activity, basically, right, John? Business, real estate, things of that nature. John is your guy, right, sir?
That's right. That's right. So if you do have anything criminal, I'll do you the favor of not representing you myself. We'll get somebody who actually knows what they're doing to represent you, so you just let me know.
I don't think I need you for that right now, but I've been pretty good. I've been mostly sitting at home, not getting myself in any trouble these days, so that's good.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a strange new world. I hope you and your family are safe.
I think so. Well, let's put it this way. As you know, Jen had hand surgery back in December, and she has literally been stuck with me nearly 24/7 since then. So at this point, we have not had to commit her in any way. I know it can be a little difficult for her because it's me, and I know how I am. So
strong. That's a strong personality.
Yes. There you go. And last time you and I got to see each other, obviously we were sitting right next to each other at a blackjack table at casino night.
Yeah, that's right.
We were kicking a little butt there at the casino night. I won a hotel stay, which I'm hoping I get to use at some point.
Wow. I hope there isn't an immediate expiration date on that. Where's the hotel?
It is our good friends at the Holiday Inn out at Earth City, Airport West. Fab and Susie.
Right, cool.
So chances are, they'll take care of me. I'm looking forward to it because it's concert season was supposed to be so great this summer, and a lot of back-to-backs. But we'll see. We'll get there, right?
Yeah, hopefully this will not last as long as everybody fears. And who knows, we might actually be getting back up to speed in late summer, early fall, and hopefully a lot of these things will be rescheduled. Yeah. And you'll get to have your fun day in the sun, my friend.
Well, I like every day in my world is a fun day in my sun. Not that anybody else agrees with me. But anyway, though, sir, let's talk about Westminster Legal Group. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about what you like to focus on, where your expertise levels are, and essentially we want everybody to know about you so that if they have these legal issues, I say that in the nicest way possible, of course, that they can contact you to use your services and things like that.
Sure. Well, I appreciate the opportunity, Kirk, very much. So, my firm, Westminster Legal Group, specializes in business law. So anything that relates to the management and operations of a business, we can typically counsel clients and provide legal representation and guidance. Whether that relates to mergers and acquisitions, such as merging with another company, purchasing major assets, or maybe adding additional partners to an existing company, or selling a company to another entity or person, usually in the context of, I see a lot of, lately, a lot of business owners handing off their businesses to family members or key employees. So we handle a lot of that type of work. We also do quite a bit of commercial litigation. And commercial in the context of, the legal world really means business litigation. We're no stranger to the courts here in Missouri and in the federal courts, and we also represent clients in Illinois as well. Aside from that, we do feel quite a bit of just a lot of strange issues as well. Even small claims like dog bites. We have clients calling our offices asking, "Hey, John, do you know anybody who could take care of something like this?" And if it's something that we don't handle, we certainly have a wide network of other professionals that we routinely work with, and with whom we have a lot of trust and good experiences with, so that we would be able to refer any need to somebody who's competent and who would properly service the client.
Excellent. Well, and I think something that just in conversations that I've had with you, what you handle, everybody, when they talk about lawyers, people get a little tense, I think, and they get a little freaked out. But simple things like passing a business on, like you were just saying, through family members, there's things that need to be tied up and drawn up properly so that on either side of it, and I'm assuming there's tax things that have to be addressed. There's different liability thing and things of that nature where, it sounds great and all back in the day when, somebody just handed off their business to their son or daughter. It was all simple, but there really is some pieces to that puzzle that need to be done correctly, and that's where a professional such as yourself really comes into play with that, I would think.
That's exactly right. So whenever you have a transfer of any business or any major asset, you're going to be dealing with federal and state taxes. There's always going to be a tax consequence, and depending on how you structure the deal, you can strategically allocate who bears the burden of paying, what kind and what amount of taxes. So it's always really good to have, actually, I always counsel my clients, if they don't have a good CPA involved in the transaction, that they need to seek one out. And typically in those scenarios, I actually end up referring somebody that I know who would be able to give them some real good guidance on how to structure the transaction from a tax perspective, so that everyone comes out of the deal feeling good about the transaction and, hopefully in a better place than they were expecting.
Gotcha. Go ahead. Keep continuing. I'm just I keep nodding because I have the video stream going, but there are people that will listen to this just the audio side of this. So me nodding does not come across audio-wise.
No. And I was going to say, there's always, of course, some kind of exposure and legal risk to any kind of transaction as well, because you want to make sure that you have the correct documentation in place and the correct protections in place. So that if a promise or a representation turns out not to be true after the transaction, the party that suffers will actually have some kind of recourse and remedy. Whether it be a failure to disclose some kind of major liability or a class action that might be pending against the business based on employment practices, something of that nature is obviously very significant to the ability for even the company to continue doing business. It's almost a sort of break the company sort of situation. And if those matters aren't disclosed properly in the transaction, then you just want to make sure that you have some way to get back and maybe, to unwind the transaction and get your money back and hopefully not be in a position worse than you found yourself before the transaction itself, other than having wasted time perhaps and minimal expense and cost. So our firm is very diligent on reviewing exactly those type of issues, and we've often saved a lot of clients from bad propositions and bad situations by exploring these issues and performing the right due diligence.
Excellent. And I got to think too that if you are going into any kind of business transaction or any kind of transaction that involves business entities, properties, things of that nature, that even if it's with your best friend, it's in everybody's interest to have somebody that knows the legal aspects of things to be a part of that transaction, so that everybody feels good about it through the whole process, and then on the other side of it, I would think.
Without question, even in transactions involving immediate family members.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, a couple has become extremely successful in building up a family business, a family-owned business, whether it be a retail shop or a service business, maybe like an accounting firm.
Mm-hmm.
They want to pass it on to their children, who are expected to take over and continue the business. But even among immediate family members, there's a lot of things that are not discussed over the family dinner table or family meetings, and
mm-hmm.
a lot of times these issues can be very significant surprises which you want to avoid. But the reality is, not all family members are created equal, or not all families are created equal,
That
right?
is
Because
true.
you have families whose members fight constantly with each other, who never can seem to get along, and the last thing you want to do is inject a business problem into that scenario where everyone is then jumping and chomping at teeth to get into court to vindicate their rights. So all of that can be properly avoided by setting up the transaction the right way. Most importantly, every transaction, the key ingredient to any transaction is communication.
Absolutely.
And I suppose that goes for life in general. The better you are at communicating with others about your intentions, the better off everyone will be at the end of the day.
Very true, very true. I know you hear all the time about it, when somebody passes away, and all of a sudden, before the funeral, one of the family members is running through the house and scavenging and taking things out. It's kind of a sad story, but it's very truthful that every person has their own intentions in this world, and some are not on the up and up, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I've run across a scenario that you just described. That's always very sad. And the reality is that, and this is very important to keep in mind, is that not everyone is on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be because of current needs, even the survival. Some people act out of the necessity of survival, or what they perceive to be survival.
Mm-hmm.
I need to do this, or else I'm not going to be able to provide for my family in the future,
mm-hmm.
or I need to do this, or I'm never going to see my share of the estate, or something of that nature. And unfortunately, it's just the reality of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You always have to, my mantra is that you always hope for the best,
right,
for the best outcome at the end of any given day. But you need to also prepare for the worst scenario
mm-hmm.
on any given day.
Absolutely. You always hope for the best in people too, but you got to be prepared for the worst.
Oh, that's certainly true. That's not true. Luckily, I haven't found anything bad about you yet, Kirk. So.
Well, we've only known each other for a few years. Give it
Yes.
time. Yet, Papa Bear's throwing a yet out there. No, at the end of the day, I have my. There's the fun side of me that has its own world. Ask my wife, and then there's the. Then there's the part of me that honestly really actually cares a lot about everybody in the world in general, believe it or not.
I definitely believe that. Seeing you in action, I know that relationships are more important to you than anything else, and that's something that I really respect and appreciate.
So
I feel that
I was going to say, how bad this is killing me right now, then, this whole missing networking and hanging out with people and being out in the public. This is not an easy thing for me.
I can only imagine, but evidently you're still doing what you do. This program is clearly demonstrates that, and I don't expect you to change, even if we have to stay home. I know you well enough to know that you're always going to be optimistic in your viewpoints, and you're always going to try to make those connections for people, and that's why I think that so many people just love and appreciate you, man.
Oh, well, you don't have to suck up to me on here now. Come on now.
No, this is not intended flattery. I'm just speaking the truth.
Well, as much as the world in general right now, no matter if it was 6 months ago or right now, I can't help myself. Sometimes I'm a reckless optimist when it comes to the fact that we're going to get through things, and on the other side of this, we're going to be stronger than ever. My main concern and my main hope right now is that all these small businesses, I know they're not all going to survive. That's the reality of it. But I hope that many of them do survive and make it through this, because that's the bread and butter of our country. Yes, for every Pfizer that's out there, or Anheuser-Busch, or Anheuser-Busch is a Belgian company now, whatever, but they employ a lot of people here. It's for every one of those, there's hundreds and thousands of small mom and pop retail shops and bars and restaurants, and what? Studios. Yeah, don't forget about the Ferguson USA Hot Talk Radio. That's at FERGUSAHTR on Facebook, as well as FergusonUSAHotTalkRadio.com on the website. That's the shameless plug for Papa Bear, John. So that's how that works. Speaking of Ferguson, we'll throw this out there too, by the way, for those that are listening. Papa Bear is still looking for more hosts on here, as well as advertisers. So if you're interested, send a message to that Ferguson USA Hot Talk Radio page. There's plenty of time slots open, and having more hosts and more advertising is what's going to keep this going. So I'm going to throw it out there for those that are on the Ferguson USA Hot Talk Radio. I'm going to throw it out there to them. If anybody's got any questions for John, don't hesitate to message him in. I'll relay them to him. And if we don't get them, you and I will just keep talking, but that's the way it goes. So give me an example. I want to hear like a couple things from you. I want to hear one of those, like the funniest, goofiest, craziest, most odd transaction. Obviously you can't talk about everything, but just like the strangest thing you've ever had to deal with on a legal aspect. And then I want a good one to finish up, like a heartwarming one, like one where we all just sit there and feel all warm and fuzzy after you tell the story.
Okay, so I've got to look back on nearly 20 years of experience here.
Right.
And, and I will say, in my defense, that a lot of things are devoid of just a significant amount of drama.
Mm-hmm.
That's my preference, and I know that that's the preference of many clients who are facing some real significant legal needs or issues that they're dealing with. Funny enough, probably the strangest situation I found myself in happened earlier on in my career when I was handling some criminal asset forfeiture cases on behalf of a creditor. And I don't know if you've ever had to deal with militia or these special reserves where basically somebody puts a flag in the ground in the middle of Iowa or Illinois and say, this is my own separate country, and I follow nobody's rules or laws except my own. I know I signed a contract and signed a personal guarantee, but I no longer recognize those because I don't believe in your laws. So we definitely dealt with one of those situations up in northern Illinois where this group of individuals established a compound and purchased something on the order of 6 or 7 Chevy Suburbans. And, after signing the initial paperwork, they were raided by the federal government. And a lot of them were taken into prison in connection with some ongoing criminal enterprises, including not paying federal income taxes and things like that. So part of my task at that time was to try to retrieve and try to get some of these vehicles. Now, the interesting part about that is that at the end of the day, we never saw the vehicles. We were never able, because the vehicles could never be located. I mean, these guys absconded and hid these trucks so that we never were able to retrieve any of the property that was purchased with the money that was loaned. But I got a real taste of, something that I was never familiar with. And that's just that, there are people out there who strongly believe that they don't need to follow anybody's laws. They don't need to get along with the rest of society. And that concept to me is such a strange and alien one, where, the currency and the fuel that runs our society is in cooperation and in good faith, dealing, not to say that all militias are bad, I'm going to presume that there are some out there that truly operate in good faith, are preparing, their local communities for disasters and, just for the safekeeping of their households and their neighborhoods. But there are also a lot out there who, clearly are established on a basis of cult, cult of personality. Right. And those things are just bizarre to me.
Well, you're talking, and I'm thinking about David Koresh in Waco. I'm thinking of Ruby Ridge. I'm thinking of all those situations. And luckily, we haven't heard of any major ones lately. Honestly, part of me is a little surprised by that with the current situation. But that is a good thing that doesn't happen every day. That's for sure.
No, it happens more often than we'd like to think, though. Just a number of years ago, we have to remember the compound that was established up in Colorado based on the federal lands. And some people were killed as a result of that interaction. And unfortunately, that's unfortunately a way that a lot of these end when people are unwilling to acknowledge that they're part of a larger society and they want to establish their own set of rules and not follow anybody else's. A lot of times these result in violence and chaos, and people are hurt and even killed in those situations. So,
right. Well, let's make sure we don't. Let's not start one up around here. Let's just kind of keep. Get our things in a row here and get through this and get back to somewhat of normalcy, hopefully soon.
Absolutely right. So I just do want to add, for your listeners' sake, I know a lot of them are business owners out there. What they really ought to do in this time of need, rather than close themselves off, and I understand physically that we're supposed to isolate ourselves, but that certainly doesn't mean that we need to do so, as it relates to our relationships. As you and I are doing here, we're staying in contact and reaching out to a larger and broader community. I think that's so important to continue, because the consequence of not making that effort is an entirely different culture, which I don't think that anybody's really prepared for. Right. I think we need to, as I said earlier, communication and relationships are such an important thing in our culture. To suspend that even for a short period of time could start to instill some habits that we could really do without. The only reason we're moving forward as a nation, I think, is because we're able to, have some kind of consensus that progress and cooperation on any level is a positive thing, and as long as we believe in that, I think that we all will be able to continue to do great things.
Absolutely. All right, take us out with a feel-good story here. I know you probably got a couple. You're such a great person and a great attorney in this world that I know you got to have at least one really good feel-good story for us.
You know, the funny thing is that when I reach back into my memories of the past 20 years of my experience, the things that stand out are really kind of the difficult ones, and the difficult cases, the extraordinary cases where there was just a bizarre set of facts that I'm actually having a little bit of trouble finding some heartwarming stories to be able to impart upon you. Because I don't deal in family law, and a lot of those situations, I think that attorneys who handle those issues would have both a lot of real tragedies to tell you, but also a lot of extremely heartwarming matters. But in the area of business law, I primarily deal. The currency of my practice are business matters, right? And typically speaking, you're looking for the avoidance of any kind of drama or emotion for a transaction to go forward. I will say, however, that just on a personal level, I do contribute a significant amount of my time to pro bono matters.
Yes, you do.
Particularly as it relates to charitable organizations and foundations, and frankly, that brings me a great amount of satisfaction, particularly when I deal with those who've not had a lot of guidance in the past. A lot of them were started on a shoestring budget and continue to operate that way because they have no other choice, but still are able to have a considerable amount of positive effect on the community. And just being involved with those groups and helping them accomplish a number of large objectives, whether they be organizational or operational, or maybe if it's to meet a specific goal, that's always extremely satisfying to me.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I know that you have served many times on many boards of non-for-profits, and you are never one that would hesitate to answer a question for somebody. But here's what you do. I put the number on the live feed, but you need to talk to John about business matters and want to pay him for his services because he is in business. 314-795-9148 or firm@westminsterlegalgroup.com. Papa Bear's throwing that up on the screen. That's the way to get a hold of John. Mr. John, I owe you a drink as soon as we can do this again and see each other again. Oh, Papa Bear says he owes you one too. So hey, there you go.
I owe you both many just for being there and being the great people that you are.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, my friend. Hopefully we can sit down very soon and do that. But until then, we will obviously keep in contact and keep talking. So thank you so much for being on, sir, and we will see you very soon.
Oh, thanks for having me, and I appreciate it. Have a lovely week.
You do the same, buddy. We'll talk.
Hi, my name is Scott Owen, and I'm a retired veteran of the United States Air Force and the General Manager of Ferguson, USA, HotTalkRadio.com. The mission of this internet broadcast station is to bring a positive view to Ferguson, St. Louis, and the surrounding areas. Amid the current health crisis, there are a lot of you that need to get your message out but have no vehicle with which to do that. In order to help our community, I am proud to offer broadcasting services for those who reach a wide audience from the St. Louis metro area. Church services, meetings that would normally have 50 people or more, and positive messages that need to be spread to many people are just examples of the possibilities. Until 1st of May 2020, I will offer the raw services, not including editing, for free to those who need them based on my time constraints. In the meantime, I will also broadcast any changes you make to business practices, i.e. change to the drive-thru only for restaurants, closure, etc. on Ferguson, USA, HotTalkRadio.com to help others navigate your constantly changing environment. We will get through this. On behalf of the hosts and entire St. Louis area, let's keep our heads, stay clean, and get through this together. Thanks.
Ferguson, USA Hot Talk Radio for hot talk and local programming.
All right. Just a quick little PSA there from Ferguson USA Hot Talk Radio. Papa Bear talking about some of the stuff he's doing here with the tools that we have at our disposal. So, without further ado, not only did we lead off today with a strong opener, a strong starter with Mr. John Hongs, but now we are bringing in the closer. I don't have, this is actually a golf ball version of it. It's not the baseball version of the Tesla Promotions. Got one of Larry's balls here on screen. Okay, don't take that the wrong way. I didn't mean to say that in that way. Larry Tesler from Tesla Promotions and also St. Louis Wing Company. Good morning and welcome to the Kirk Schilling Extravaganza.
Hey, Kirk, how are you doing? Thank you very much. I heard something about you with a stress reliever, or what was that about? I couldn't quite
Yeah, that was,
what you said.
I've got a Tesla Promotions, one of your golf balls here in my hand. I was leading in with a baseball reference and realized I had the golf ball, not the baseball one, so I'll just have to make a note with my Tesla Promotions pen.
I think I made an impression. You
Maybe.
finally got it, Kirk. Good for you.
Hey, there you go. I'll throw one more out there for you. See, I just used that Tesla Promotion hand sanitizer because that's something that, I always thought you were silly with having that around, but I've used like 3 bottles of that I had from time to time here recently. So, Larry, good morning. Let's talk about your world. Let's talk about Tesla Promotions. And we also want to get in a little bit on the Wing Company. I actually was peeking in on the Pascal show, and I saw Bobby over there on the Pascal show as well. So let's talk.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, which I probably won't do a lot of.
That's all right.
I just learned that he was going to be on the Pascal show maybe 30 minutes ago. I said, oh my God, what's going on here? Why couldn't we kind of coordinate this?
It's all good.
Pascal, Kirk, Papa Bear, everybody kind of really cover the once a month. Anyway.
Well, we kind of are. I mean, the Tesla name is out there excessively today. So I ended up with the, Pascal got Bobby, I got Larry, but it's okay. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
And before we go on,
Yes.
I am really flattered, seriously. I'll kidding aside that you thought enough of me to bring me on and see what's going on in Larry's world.
Well,
So shoot, what do you want to know?
Well, I mean, the big thing, obviously, I got you on because, you've been around a long time. Have you ever seen anything like this? No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. No, let's talk a little bit about Tesla Promotions. This is your opportunity where you don't have, when we see each other, usually you get like the 30 to 60 second window to give your elevator speech, and then whether it's Melanie or whoever is telling you to shut up because you talk too much. I'm giving you like we got at least 20 minutes here or so to fill to let you talk about your business. And obviously, one of the things I mentioned this to my wife last night, your tagline, when you're out of sight, out of mind. I mean, people are sitting at home right now and hey, I'm gonna segue this right in for you. When they're writing notes around on their honeydew list and things like that, what pen are they using? Whose name is on that pen that they're using? Whose name's on that notepad? Whose name's on that stress reliever?
Well, very interesting. Let me ask you a question. How did you happen to come to me? How did you remember who I am or what my number?
Well, there's some things that are hard to forget, but no. Straight up, we know each other on a personal level, but, if somebody would have happened to borrow this hand sanitizer that I have right here, it says Tesla Promotions on it. If I left a pen laying somewhere, because I tend to do that often, and then I swipe other ones, and usually it's your pens that I swipe, so your name gets left everywhere on those pens, on those promotional products.
Well, I'm a very low-tech guy, as just a couple people recognize.
Right, that's why we had you do this on a dial-in phone.
I do have one in my kitchen, as a matter of fact. But seriously, I'm not a very good salesperson, so I figured at least be seen, be around, and put my name on promotional products. So if and when the time is right for somebody to consider a promotional item, employee gifts, or whatever the case might be. Yeah, let me call that Tesla guy. Yeah, I've got something I've seen them around a lot. Let me give them a try. So, I mean, I don't really promote myself other than really trying to show up at various events and through referrals and so forth. Maybe if I could turn the clock back 30 years, I might do things a little bit differently, but at this stage in my life, this is the way I choose to promote myself. When I just brought in as a new tagline recently, with all kidding aside, what do I do? I feel pretty memory loss.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here I am, utilizing these stress relievers
Mm-hmm.
in the shape of golf balls and tennis balls, and squeezing them, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I'm not going to forget just with them. Well, of course not.
Right.
But if something is in your sight and is usable all the time, I mean, you're going to remember somebody. So just a little bit of a quirky tagline, prevent memory loss. Now, it's a challenging time, and once again, I appreciate you bringing me on. I don't mean to hesitate, but to try to focus on this, it is challenging with what's going on in our world, and especially just listening to my son on Pascal's show. But the promotional product business has come to a little bit of a slowdown.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big features of promotional products is to be utilized in networking events,
Mm-hmm.
or leave behind when making sales calls and so forth. And there's not a whole lot of that going on unless it's virtual. So, in fact, with the Chamber of Commerce later on, we've got a virtual networking event. So maybe I think I'm going to be on that video. I'm pretty sure. So I'll just hold up some promotional things in my hand so it can be seen. But I enjoy what I do. It was an opportunity. You kind of want to know this a little bit?
Sure, absolutely.
Hang on a minute. I got trucks down my street. ABC and CBS got the satellite trucks out here. ITunes on BBC. I'll be with you guys in about 30 minutes. Okay. So, hang on. In my former life, which was involved in retail fabrics with my family business,
Mm-hmm.
we liquidated in 1989 looking for something to get into. And so I spent 1 year looking for, it was full-time work looking for work. So I got involved with an acquaintance who was in travel business but had a premiums business to coincide with it. So I came on to work in that business. I learned it for about 6 years and decided I wanted to do this on my own. And I just branched off. I got back to my home office and opened up Tesla Promotions.
Mm-hmm.
I am a distributor of promotional products, ranging from corporate gifts to apparel, promotional marketing materials, awards, and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it because it's an industry, a business that can appeal to anyone. Anyone can possibly use something that they want to put their brand on, their logo, their message, whether it's a church group or a union doing T-shirts or sunglasses,
Mm-hmm.
or reunion events, anything. There's so many uses for this industry. We're just bound by our imagination or restricted by our imagination. So there's I'm not boasting at all, but there's always work for me. I guess just like a chef, there's always going to be some need for somebody prepping work. You simply need to do it right now, but that's a whole other story. So I love what I do. I love helping people promote themselves and getting their image out in front of their prospective clients and their clients to keep them and say thank you for all the business. So it's just really, it's gratifying. So that, I mean, just like when I'm very flattered when you said you got a pen that says Tesla on it. Just those little things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so very important. I mean, I usually believe this is my closing line, but I can bring it in right now because it's so pertinent that if one does not use promotional products or networking, you really run the risk of being out of sight and out of mind. So that if you need some product, I I can go to your contact. Oh, who is it? There's a guy or something related to the service industry, a plumber or an IT person. By the way, Michelle, Harry, I noticed you said you had your clock set on this, so I can hear you listening. Perhaps there's a few other ones too. So, Kurt, maybe now's a good time. There's three words that I've mentioned before, and I use in my industry, my business, and so forth. I think it's especially important at this time. They are priorities, aware, and respect. I feel compelled just to bring that up at this time, and not really toot my horn or talk much about what I do, but it's a very challenging time.
Mm-hmm.
Priorities. I don't have to explain what's most important. Being aware, knowing what's going on around us, current events, and so forth. And then respect. This time is a very challenging time. Emotions can come to the fore. So it's very important to respect one another. We all have feelings. So these things are all very, very important.
Very true. Very true. Well, Louis, let's delve into some brighter. Speaking of feelings and emotions and things of that nature, I want to hear a couple stories from you. I want to hear the craziest thing you've ever put a promotional product on, or the craziest person you ever worked with, and then a really, really good, like a feel-good version of that.
Oh, God, I wish I'd had some advance notice.
Nah, we like getting... Don't make me go pull that old Army picture up and share it now. Come on.
Okay, now you said the craziest thing I've ever put on, the craziest thing I've ever put a logo on or something?
Yeah.
Was that one question?
Sure.
Well, I haven't done this, but it's certainly available to we in the industry. And by the way, I'm a distributor. I don't manufacture or imprint anything.
Right.
I deal with 4,000 to 5,000 suppliers who supply all these things. I've mentioned this before, but there are vendors who will put logos on prophylactic containers. What can I say on this show?
Well, the FCC doesn't really know we're here yet, so you can kind of let it fly.
Well, no, I'll just keep it PG, if you will. But I've never gotten. But there are key tags with little containers for condoms. I don't know that I've seen anyone offering to imprint condoms, but I won't go there with that.
Right.
I guess that's kind of unusual, but there are no limits really from what can be imprinted. I'm just looking around my office and what a mess that I would not know.
It's in there.
Where to start. I think one of the interesting things that I have sold a lot of over the years are simply golf tees. I mean, for goodness sake, are golfers really going to pick up the tees? I got to call Tesla Promotions. Oh, what's that phone number? Oh, here it is, yeah. But yet again, that is a very popular giveaway for people who put in goodie bags. A little package of golf tees with the ball and marker, very, very tiny and so forth. But as far as unusual, I guess if I really thought that I could come up with something, but nothing really too unusual. In fact, frequently people will ask me, well, what's the newest and the latest, greatest promotional product? And I really don't, I see these things. I mean, if they want to spend their money on a glow-in-the-dark, battery-operated, lighted bottle opener in the shape of a unicorn, I'm sure something like that is somewhere. But I don't know. I don't think that I would put too much money in that.
Right.
Put some, a few bucks on a bottle of hand sanitizer that somebody can all use. But there are a lot of things that are industry-specific, of course. One thing, one item strictly, I can think of that there's something for just about every industry, and that's stress relievers. There's a vendor here in St. Louis, as a matter of fact, Aerial Premium Supply. That doesn't really matter. People can't go there and purchase product. They have to go to a distributor such as myself.
Mm-hmm.
but they are one of the largest suppliers of stress relievers in the entire country. They've got broccoli, they've got airplanes, they've got teeth, they've got wrenches, all kinds of different things that somebody can put their logo on. And it's very interesting at this time where we are all under stress in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking maybe this would be a time for the sale of stress relievers, but I mean, I've had them available forever. In fact, at the end of my day, when the gym is closed right now, so my day ends, I'll get up from my desk. If it's still light outside, I'll go to the high school track and walk around. I prefer that rather than some of the trails. People say, no, what are you going to do, walk around in circles for half an hour, or whatever. Yeah, to me, it's relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
The surface is all even, and I can walk on that. I've got my headset on, listening to some stuff. And yet I do. I have a stress ball in each one of my hands as I'm walking around to kind of exercise that. So that item, I think, is going to be in supply. Speaking of supply, okay,
Yes.
I did call before we spoke, actually, yesterday to find out regarding the vendors if they're open. Interestingly enough, the pen that you were talking about, the Tesla promotion, the pen I've used for about 15 years, the vendor for that is in Boston, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke there, which is normally about a 5-day turnaround. They're saying delivery, if they would take orders now, they're quoting maybe the end of April.
Oh, wow.
Another big, or two other big suppliers that I use are located in Florida. They are pretty much on schedule, as a matter of fact, anywhere from 5 to 7 working days on turnaround on those things. There's a very large magnet vendor that I use in Kansas City. Their production has not been affected by any of this at this point. So, as far as product and production in our industry, it has not really been affected that badly at this time. But things are changing, day to day, almost hour to hour.
Absolutely.
There's merchandise out there now. As far as I indicated before, the majority of the promotional products are used for lead behind sales tools, networking, events, and those things just really aren't happening right now. So the business is slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
It has not come to a complete halt. So what am I doing in the interim? I'm following up with people that I haven't followed up with nearly like I should. I will email them just to check in them, see how they're doing. And honestly, I've made a lot of friends over the years, so I have been doing the emailing or just calling, and then finding out how they're doing, if there are any needs that I might help them with along these lines, or what their thoughts are going forward. But just a way to keep in touch so that there's always something for me to do as far as my business is concerned. Although now I'm taking up, a lot more time on personal affairs, things that are going on now. But I do spend a lot of time sort of following up the clients and reaching out to a couple of prospects too that I've been wanting to get in touch with, but I have not taken the time to do so yet.
Excellent, excellent. Well, watch this. Now, when you watch the video to this later, I'm going to do it for you, Larry. We're going to do the Tesla twist here. We're going to twist you around. We're twisting you around and bringing you right back up there. Oh, Papa Bear's even spinning the camera here. He's
I spun in my office. I swear I got up and made a little turn.
Perfect. We even spun the camera. Papa spun the camera, so I even spin the ball because the backside of this stress ball says St. Louis Wing Company on it. So we were speaking about Bobby just a little bit ago. That is Larry's son, who is the owner of St. Louis Wing Company, located in
9816 Manchester in beautiful Rock Hill, Missouri.
There it is. There it is.
Kurt, I mean, look outside the window. Not here; it's partly cloudy. But if anybody is in the vicinity of Rock Hill, if you just want to kind of take a drive, you don't have to stop off and go anywhere. But if you just want to kind of get out of the house, take a drive down Manchester between the night and limber. You'll be in awe. Notice the rocks on the ground. I mean, right about this time, you've got the beautiful hues of gray and browns, all these different kinds. There's some black ones, there's some white ones. It's just exquisite. And then you will land upon, or you will drive right by, gem of Rock Hill, which is St. Louis Wing Company.
Yes, it is. And unfortunately,
Different flavored chicken wings.
yes, many different flavors. Everything from dessert wings to the crazy wings to the rally squirrel. And you think I've heard that?
But here, I've got a list right here as Death Wish, ridiculous. Since you asked, or since you've given me the opportunity. Melanie, are you listening to this? She's probably giving you the hook about 20 minutes. Death Wish, ridiculous ranch, spicy, fresh, jalapeno, traditional hot Caribbean church, red hot riblets, Mardi Gras, dry rub, honey buffalo, coconut curry, lemon pepper, Cajun Alfredo, Thai sweet chili, honey barbecue, French honey mustard, sesame ginger teriyaki, toasted garlic parmesan, marinara parmesan, and rally squirrel. I've never had the opportunity to do that, Kirk.
There you go. There's always a first for everything.
And,
But
I must say, even though you didn't ask me, I don't mean to cut you off.
No.
That's the time I have right now. Bobby did try to stay open for carryout for 2 days after the notice was given for all restaurants to shut down in-house dining. He did try to carry out for 2 days and made the decision to finally just shut down completely on a temporary basis. And he has said many times that he just does not want to jeopardize his staff or himself or his potential customers in any way, shape, or form. He is not set up to do the strict curbside service whereby people would line up outside and have certain time frames and have people run out. He is not set up to do that. He said he was having to carry out when people would place the order and then come in and pick it up and do that. But he didn't want to jeopardize these people, his employees, who majority of them will take public transportation, so they'll have to get out and be exposed, potentially exposed to other people. His suppliers will deliver product to the store. Don't know where those people have been. And I was noticing something on Facebook this morning about the drive-through. And all these people who are doing business, and I applaud them too. But a lot of these people in drive-through who might have the gloves on and so forth. There was an article this morning, unless they change gloves after its transmission, who knows where they've been to work the soda machine or somebody,
right.
a cook who is going to give them their merchandise, or maybe they're going to be accepting money or a credit card. They don't change the gloves every time. It's all defeating the purpose. But I think the whole thing is seriously trying to reduce the risk in any way, shape, or form. Bobby and many others are of the decision that just stay home. How many times have we seen on Facebook, or anybody who wants to say something simply, stay home where possible.
Yeah.
Except for the necessities, and then we all have to determine what is a necessity to all of us.
Absolutely. Well, and I don't know if you saw the article or not in the last 24 hours. I forget exactly when I saw it, that they're at Annie Guns. I mean, Annie Guns. Yeah, about Annie Guns. I mean, there were 8 employees that tested positive. And for those of you that aren't from St. Louis or aren't familiar with Annie Guns, I mean, Annie Guns is a nice restaurant. It is a very nice restaurant. You're not going to get out of there without dropping, more than $100. This isn't.
Almost per person.
Yeah, sometimes depending on if you're drinking or not. And it's not. We're not talking about a dive bar. We're not talking about a fast food restaurant. We're talking about a very nice steakhouse that 8 employees tested positive. And like you said, those gloves may be protecting those people from other people themselves, but things get on those gloves, and like you said, unless they're changing them, who knows? I don't know what the answers are with these things. I'm doing my best as well to talk about the bars and restaurants I have connections with that are still doing carry-out service and things like that. And, you know, like I was talking with John earlier and everybody else, we just hope that as many of them as possible can survive. You know, we don't know where we're going to come out on the other end of this. And, you know, we just want to keep trucking along here, that's for sure.
Well, excuse me.
Yes.
Necessity is a mother. You know, my son has said, and I kind of like to delve around a little bit. It's certainly nothing fancy. I like my son, but I'll look around and see what's in my refrigerator, what's in the shelves, and make some vegetarian chili or throw some crazy things together, and who knows? We might come up with the next. What was he saying? The Reese's peanut butter toast. Peanut butter meets chocolate. Who knows what we'll come up with?
Okay, just don't put that on a wing, okay? Because that's not no.
Wait. He did do some peanut butter and jelly wings a couple.
Yeah, I know. I didn't try those. I did not try those.
Before your time, Kirk.
No. I mean, I remember what he did them. I didn't. Yeah. I mean, like a Thai peanut butter or something like that, but I don't know. Well, guess what, Larry? Now is the time when I am going to Melanie you and cut you off here because we are wrapping up. So I shared both Tesla Promotions and St. Louis Wing Company on the live feed here. That'll get people in touch with you. Huh?
Just one real quick closure.
Yes.
Let people regarding the Wing Company remember when they actually were created equal, right? But their wings were not. So check out St. Louis Wing Company because
you like nice wings. Larry, give me your number real quick in case people need to get a hold of you.
314-995-9977.
Got it. That is shared out on the thread. In case anybody needs to get a hold of you, get some promotional products out there. Larry, I want to thank you so much for coming on. We'll hook you up with a drink next time we're allowed to do that out in public. And I look forward to seeing you again very soon, my friend.
Thanks a lot, Kirk. Hey, Papa, take care.
You too now, Larry.
You guys do a great job.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
So long. Bye-bye.
I was able to actually hit the off button. All right, I got basically about 45 seconds here to wrap everything up. We just want to thank both John Hongs and Larry Tesler for coming on the Kirk Schilling Extravaganza today, at least until we find something better. It's springtime out there, everybody. Obviously, we're maintaining that social distance. Keep your head high. Get outside, suck in some sunshine, make some vitamin D. It's good for your immune system. I look forward to seeing y'all again next week, and have a great one. Take care of yourselves. Bye now.
Hi, my name is Scott Owen, and I'm a retired veteran of the United States Air Force and the General Manager of Ferguson, USA, HotTalkRadio.com. The mission of this internet broadcast